Hello, so this is on Shinto religion. Shinto, indigenous religious beliefs and practices of Japan. The word Shinto, which literally means the way of kami, generally sacred or divine power, specifically the various gods or deities, came into use in order to distinguish indigenous Japanese beliefs from Buddhism, which had been introduced into Japan in the 6th century CE. Shinto has no founder, no official sacred scriptures in the strict sense, and no fixed dogmas, but it has preserved its guiding beliefs through the ages. Nature and varieties. Shinto consists of the traditional Japanese religious practices, as well as the beliefs and life attitudes that are in accord with these practices. Shinto is more readily observed in the social life of Japanese people and in their personal motivations than in the pattern of formal belief or philosophy. It remains closely connected with the Japanese value system and the Japanese people's way of thinking and acting. Shinto's can be roughly classified into the following three major types: Shrine Shinto, Sect Shinto, and Folk Shinto. Shrine Shinto, which has been in existence from the beginning of Japanese history to the present day, constitutes a main current of Shinto traditions. Shrine Shinto includes within its structure the now defunct state Shinto, based on the total identity of religion and state, and has close relations with the Japanese imperial family. Sect Shinto is a relatively new movement consisting of 13 major sects that originated in Japan around the 19th century, and of several others that emerged after World War II. Each sect was originally into a religious body by either a former or a founder or a systemizer. Folk Shinto is an aspect of Japanese folk belief that is closely connected with the other types of Shinto. It has no formal organizational structure nor doctrine formulation, but is centered in the veneration of small roadside images and in the agricultural rites of rural families. These three types of Shinto are interrelated. Folk Shinto exists as a substructure of the Shinto faith, and a sect Shinto follower is usually also a parishioner of a particular Shinto shrine. Alright, so Shinto literature and mythology. Alright, so broadly speaking, Shinto has no founder. When the Japanese people and Japanese culture became aware of themselves, Shinto was already there, nor has it been an official scripture that can be compared to the Bible in Judaism and Christianity, or the Quran in Islam. The Kojiki and the Nihon Shoki are regarded in a sense as sacred books of Shinto. They were written in 1712 and 1720 CE, respectively, and are compilations of the oral traditions of ancient Shinto. But they are also books about the history, topography, and literature of ancient Japan. It is possible to construct Shinto doctrines from them by interpreting the myths and religion practices they describe. Stories particularly similar to those found in Japanese mythology can be found in the myth of Southeast Asia, and in the style of description in Japanese myths. Some Chinese influence is detectable. The core of the mythology, however, consists of the tales about the sun goddess Amaterasu Omi Kami, the interest of the imperial household, and tales of how her direct descendants unified the Japanese people under their authority. In the beginning, according to Japanese mythology, a certain number of kami simply emerged, and a pair kami Izangi and Izami gave birth to the Japanese islands. And Susanoo no Mikato, the ruler of the nether regions, were the most important among them. Oh wait, I missed them. As well as the Kami, who also became the ancestors. Okay. Amaterasu, the ruler of the Takama no Hara, the moon goddess, the moon god. Tsuki no Mikato were one of the most descendants of Amaterasu. Jimmu is said to have become the first emperor of Japan. Japanese mythology says that there are 3 sacred treasures: the mirror, the sword, and the jewels, which are still the most revered symbols in the imperial household. Were first given by Amaterasu to her grandson. The inner shrine, Nakiru, of the Isujengu, is dedicated to the ancestral goddess and is the most venerated shrine in Shinto. The Japanese classics also contain myths and legends concerning the so-called 800 myriads of kami. Some of them are tutelarian deities of clans and later became the kami of their respective local communities. Many others, however, are not enshrined in sanctuaries and have no direct connections with the actual Shinto faith. Perceptions of truthfulness and purification. As the basic attitude toward life, Shinto emphasizes Makato no Kokoro, heart of truth, or Magokoro, true heart, which is usually translated as sincerity, pure heart, uprightness. This attitude follows from the revelation of the truthfulness of kami in humans. It is generally the sincere attitude of people in doing their best in their work they have chosen or in their relationship with others. And the ultimate source of such a life attitude lies in one's awareness of the divine. Although Shinto ethics do not ignore individual moral virtues such as loyalty, fidelity, love, faithfulness, and so forth, it is generally considered more important to seek Mago Karo, which constitutes the dynamic life attitude that brings forth these virtues. In ancient scriptures, Magu Karo was interpreted as bright and pure mind, or bright, pure, upright, and sincere mind. Purification, both physical and spiritual, is stressed even in contemporary Shinto. To produce such a state of mind, the achievement of this state of mind is necessary in order to make communion between kami and humans possible, and to enable individuals to accept the blessings of kami. Rituals, practices, and institutions. Shinto does not have a weekly religious service. People visit shrines at their convenience. Some may go to the shrines on the 1st and 15th of each month, and on the occasions of rites and festivals, which take place several times a year. Devotees, however, may pay respect to the shrines every morning. Shinto religious arts. The Japanese from ancient times have valued emotional and aesthetic institutions in expressing and appreciating their religious experience. They found symbols of kami in natural beauty and the forces of nature, and they developed explicitly religious poetry, architecture, and visual art. Shrine precincts are covered with green trees and are placed of the serene and solemn atmosphere, which is effective in calming worshippers' minds. In the larger shrines, surrounded by expansive woods with mountains as their background, a harmony of nature and architecture may be achieved. Isujengu and Izumo Tashiya still retain the ancient architectural structures. After the 9th century, an intricate form of shrine construction was developed, adopting both Buddhist and Chinese architectural styles and techniques. The curving roof style is one example. Unpainted timbers are most frequently used, but wherever Buddhistic Shinto was popular, Chinese vermilion shrines were also built. A torii always stands in front of a shrine. Various kinds of torii can be seen in Japan, but their function is always the same: to divide the sacred precincts from the secular area. A pair of sacred stone animals called komanu, quote-unquote, Korean dogs, or karajishi, Chinese lions, are placed in front of a shrine. Originally, they served to protect the sacred buildings from evil and defilement. After the 9th century, they were used for ornamental purposes or ceremonial occasions at the imperial court, and later came into be used at various shrines generally. Some of the stone lanterns used at the shrines are works of art. The dictator's name and the year are inscribed on the lanterns to inform viewers of the long tradition of faith and urge them to maintain it. Whew. So this is the last page. It's kind of long, so I might take, a break and give people time to stop and read it if they want to. But anyway, compared with Buddhist sanctuaries, visual representations of kami are not outstanding either in their quality or quantity. Images of kami were in fact not used in ancient Shinto until after the introduction of Buddhism into Japan. These are places in that innermost part of the Honden and are not objects of direct worship by the people. Kami icons are not worshipped at shrines. The history of the shrine, its construction, arrangements, and ritual processions are recorded in picture scrolls. And at older shrines, there are many votive pictures, small wooden picture plaques, that have been dedicated over the years by worshippers. Other articles, such as specimens of calligraphy, sculptures, swords, and arms, dedicated by the imperial families, nobles, or feudal lords, are also kept at the shrines. Several hundred such items in shrine constructions have been designated by the Japanese government as national treasures and important cultural properties. The traditional religious music and dance of shrines were performed for the purpose of entertaining and appeasing kami, rather than to praise them. Gagaku, literally elegant music, involves both musical and instrumental music, specifically for wind percussions and string instruments. Gagaku with dance is called bagaku. Gagaku was patronized by the imperial household as court music and was much appreciated by the upper classes from the 9th to the 11th century. Later, some of the more solemn and graceful pieces were used as ritualistic music by shrines and temples. More solemnly and graceful pieces were used as ritualistic music by shrines and temples. I know, I just said that. Today, Gagaku is widely performed at larger shrines. The authentic tradition of Gagaku has been transmitted by the Bureau of Music of the imperial household. Apart from Gagaku, there are also Kaguru, a form of indigenous religious music and dance based on blessing and purification. Tasobi, a New Year's dance pantomime of the cycle of rice cultivation, and Shishmai, which developed originally from the Majiko religious dances and are now danced for purification and as prayers. Mashuri Beisai is a gay, lively music with flutes and drums to accompany divine processions. Some organizations of both shrine and sect Shinto have recently begun to compromise solemn religion songs to praise kami, making use of Western musical forms. So that's it. Thank you for listening. I know I messed up a lot. I've got a little bit of a head cold, and some of the words are hard to pronounce. I tried my best. I hope I didn't offend anyone, but thank you for watching.